Growing up at the end of history was an interesting time to be a baby gamer. I was born a little over a month after the original Doom came out. I wouldn't wrap my mitts around a controller until about the age of 6, when my parents got me a Game Boy, a decision I sometimes wonder if they have profound regrets about. Looking back with the benefit of adult hindsight, it was a time in the industry the likes of which we'll probably never see again. Every studio was in full-on toss it at the wall and see what sticks mode. Publishing companies took risks on IPs and had realistic sales expectations and didn't just smother fledgling series in the crib if they didn't sell 20 billion copies. Games like Super Mario 64 were still relatively fresh in the industry zeitgeist. The 7th console generation hadn't yet taken the platforming genre out back behind the shed. We were still a long way away from major publishers going public and becoming beholden to that which must always go up. This isn't to say that the industry was flat out better at the time. The ratio of gems to garbage was probably about the same. So with all that in mind, and because nobody really tells you how to start a YouTube channel and what topics to cover, and I'm just kind of winging it, I'd like to talk about Tak and the Power of Juju. Released in 2003, it was developed by Avalanche Studios, whose credits before it include a couple NFL Blitz titles, a Dreamcast Prince of Persia port, and... oh no. Tak and the Power of Juju was made in conjunction with the House of the Sponge, Nickelodeon. The idea for the game had been kicking around the Avalanche offices for a few years in the late 90s, and someone took an opportunity to pitch the game to Nick, since Avalanche already had developed 2 licensed games for them. Nick in turn contributed resources and a scriptwriter, Randolph Hurd, whose IMDb page details a pretty solid career writing games and television for young audiences. This is why you can find trailers for a bunch of then upcoming games based on Nickelodeon properties in the bonus menu, along with... oh no, I remember this. The fact that we let punk rock become this for a while is an oozing, pustulant blemish on our species' cultural legacy. I know I probably played through this game about a dozen times because we didn't get new games in the house very often, yet I couldn't remember all that much about it going in. Mechanically, it's very in tune with other platformers of the era. Jak and Daxter and Ty the Tasmanian Tiger come to mind as immediate points of comparison. You run, jump, smack enemies around, collect things, and have a couple gimmicks to set things apart and make an attempt at an identity. We're playing the GameCube version, because that's the one I remember, albeit with some modern conveniences. Anti-aliasing and a 60 FPS hack go a long way. Let's get started.
But it's low about how something... is this chanting ever going to work? What is it going to take to get into contact with a powerful Juju spirit from another world?
Well, we're off to a great start, aren't we?
My name is Jabulba. I am the powerful shaman of the great and legendary Poopanunu people. For generations we have... Hey! Hey, quiet out there! I'm talking to a Juju! Let me explain. Throughout the history of the Poopanunu people, shaman like myself have known that someday something terrible would happen to our great protector, the Moon Juju. So said the Poopanunu people's prophecy.
So, standard platformer setup. Big bad guy, sort of chosen one, go get the things. Out of the gate, I want to talk about the voice cast a little. Jabulba, the shaman with the noggin shaped like it would be found by Harrison Ford in a terrible movie, is voiced by John Kassir, who older viewers might know as... Tak is voiced by Jason Marsden, who performs the character in the same high, kinda nasally register he used for Max in the Goofy movies. I was actually first exposed to him voicing Kovu in that direct-to-video Lion King sequel where his performance, opened doors that will never be closed.
We'll run away together and start a pride all our own.
Finally, Flora, your Navi type, is played by Jennifer Hale, who will of course one day voice every woman on the planet. We start in a training area. You can run, double jump, bop things with your club. There's also some early practice with the animal puzzles that'll come up later. Tak's village is about what you'd expect, lots of natural materials and rounded environment design. Unfortunately, there's no real reason to go poking around at first, as there's nothing to find off the beaten path until later. Flora leads the way to the first level, the burial grounds.
All of your ancestors are buried here, many of them great Poopanunu people. Everyone here is watched over by the great warrior king. It's his tomb we have to enter to get the staff.
You probably noticed these little gremlins already. These are Nurbles, which I initially heard as Nurgles and started writing a Warhammer joke. Get used to them, they're everywhere. They go down with 2 whacks of Tack's club. Later you can one-tap them, and you can also keep smacking them around after they make their death noise, but before they hit the ground. It's like repeatedly tagging enemies in Time Crisis. Also, this noise they make when they attack you is the same noise I make when I open my order of buffalo wings.
So, you're the great warrior of the Pupanunu People's Prophecy, Come to pick up the staff of your ancestors? Well, you don't look so great to me.
Me? Oh, I'm not the great warrior. That's Locke's job. I'm just here to take the staff to Jabulba.
The prophecy says only the great warrior can have the staff. If you can take the staff from me, you are meant to have it.
Whoa.
Oh, man. That's my fighting arm. What a drag.
The Mummy Warrior gives us a staff, which has a couple uses. The primary function is as a pole for vaulting, which carries you higher and farther than your built-in double jump. In the next level, we'll get a bag of magic acorns that turn it into a blowgun for solving puzzles. The staff is, unfortunately, kind of a bummer for combat. Its swings root you in place compared to the club, which you can swing on the move, and the acorns hit with all the force of a sock'em bopper. Time for some gardening. The Nubu plants are pretty easy. Dodge 3 or 4 attacks for an opening, smack them, repeat 3 times until they die with this absolutely grotesque noise.
Now that you've defeated the plant, you can get the small plant from his mouth. It's the one we need to take back to Jabulba.
Woo! Check it!
By the by, this game beat Dead Space by about 5 years in the creative health bar department. Tack's health is represented by the amount of yellow in his head feather. We pass back through Tack's village into the geographically distinct Tree Village to collect 3 more plants and the aforementioned magic acorns. The Tree Village contains the first instances of the animal puzzles. You can put sheep on treadmills and smack them to make them run and hold doors open. Orangutans will pull down banana trees. Standing on the leaf will catapult you in the direction the tree is bending. Sometimes you have to lure them around with a melon or by getting one of these monkeys to belt them with a fruit. With 3 more plants in the bag, we head to Chicken Island, which has the best music in the entire game. Tech's OST is actually really good, lots of pan flutes and woodsy percussion. It's listed as being by Mai Tai Studios in the credits, but despite my best digging, I couldn't find anything about them. The Nubu plants start getting a little crafty and add this annoying sweeping vine to their attack pattern. You'll also meet the yellow Nurbals here, who are a fair bit more spongy than their purple brethren. We only need 9 plants to fulfill the objective. There's 3 more in Dry Rock Canyon if you want, but I save that for a later trip.
I have the herbs and spices, Jabulba. How's Locke doing?
Locke, the mighty warrior, has been mindlessly eating grass and leaving little pellets all over the floor of my hut. But this is not Locke. It's Tobar, Locke's squire.
At least your transformation spell worked. Tobar, can you tell us what happened to Locke? Jabulba? You sure you did that spell right?
Of course I did. You mean it wasn't always like this? Tech, you must go to the Tree Village and find their shaman. If he has been turned into a sheep, you must fetch his spirit rattle. We will need it.
The game does you a favor and teleports you directly to the Tree Village for the first boss battle.
Jabulba's errand boy thinks he can just reach out and take that. It's pathetic.
Much like Jabulba, Tlaylock here might also sound a little familiar, which is because he's Rob Paulson. He has maybe a dozen voiced lines, which seems like a spectacular waste of his abilities. Pins and needles are pushovers. 3 hits with the magic dodgeballs and their heads explode. Does it count as murder if they're made of cloth? I mean, I think they're made of cloth. With the spirit rattle in hand, we return to Jabulba only to find that Locke has been, well...
He's a 1/4 of an inch thick. He's a Pupanunu people's pancake. The prophecy also told us a mighty warrior would save the Pupununu people. But when Locke tried to calm them down, they crushed him like a bug.
Embarrassing. Now we have to find a new set of MacGuffins to bring him back to life. From here, the game becomes open-ended, and it's actually worth poking around and exploring because now you have Juju vision and can see the new collectibles called Yorbels. Also, you can find tiki totems to put in shrines and summon Juju spirits, which you need to do to open paths forward. By the way, yes, the concepts of Juju and tiki idols are indeed from two wholly different religious traditions. From opposite sides of the planet, in fact. But I don't feel like I have the level of sociology degree to adequately articulate the disparity beyond calling it problematic. You need 100 Yorbels to do the resurrection, and there are 200 total in the game. You don't exactly have to scour every inch of every level to find them, many of them are tucked just off the beaten path. Collecting all 200 unlocks a concept art gallery, which at this point is kind of worthless because it's all up online, so just grab the blue ice cream balls when you spot them and you'll take over the meter just fine. It's up to you where you want to go to gather them, and you now have the basic abilities required to navigate every area. The one thing you absolutely have to do, though, is find Locke's spirit, a process that begins with a return to the burial grounds. Finding the tiki here summons the dead Juju, who breaks open a barrier to the mummy tombs.
Wait! I know what you like. Pin the tail on the rhino, baby!
Hey, you should be careful, you're...
Quiet! Dead people don't cheat! I did it! I did it! I win! Oh yeah! I'm bad! I'm nationwide!
Whoa, Tack. This is a really sacred area.
Yeah, so sacred they're full of nurbles. I remember hating this area as a kid, and remembered why real fast. See, you need to go into 4 different tombs to retrieve mummies and escort them to the center building to open a portal to the spirit world. Inside each tomb is a different flavor of obstacle: deep pits, lava, dart traps, and using the mummy's head to lead its body around. The problem is that the tombs are large, but the challenge is minimal, leading to long stretches of hurry up and wait where you have to sit and wait for this dusty bastard to hobble through the obstacles, and it's so tedious. Also waiting for you in the tombs are these Giga Nurbles that... You can get a head start on the Yorbel roundup here while you do the stuff with the mummies. Flora pipes up whenever you collect all the Yorbels in an area to give you an okay to move on. Real useful since there's no collectible screen.
Okay, that's all the Yorbels here. We should try somewhere else now.
The spirit world is a little more engaging. The whole area is shrouded in fog. You have to break open pots around the level to power these shrines, which suck you in and spit you back out, letting you see the whole scope of the level for a limited time. You have to navigate some obstacles in this state, including level geometry and orangutan launcher trees that only appear for short bursts of time. Some of the pots around here are booby traps, either hiding a Nurbal wraith that turns you into a Nurbal, for about 5 seconds, and the much more dangerous monkey skulls that hit you with optic blasts and can potentially blow you off the level. Death is cheap though, you just get booted a few platforms back.
Hey man, I need some balloons for the party, right? If you can bring like 3 of them to me, I might be able to help you out. Do it!
While doing this errand for the dead Juju, I pick up a Juju power, the compass, which points Tack's head feather in the direction of the nearest collectible. I never used this as a kid, because I was dumb. I also picked up a healing power, Restoration Dance, back in the burial grounds. The home stretch of this area sees us retrieve Locke's spirit in a... balloon. Okay.
Tack, I'm so glad you're here.
I need help. I know, Locke. I'm gonna take you back to Jabulba, and he's gonna put you back in your body.
Yeah, but first I got this terrible itch. Can you scratch my head?
Who's making all that racket in here? So, it's Jabulba's errand boy and the great warrior of legend, Mr. Balloonhead. You'll never find your way out of here.
Careful, easy, my skin. Watch where I'm going, Tack. Hey, don't scrape face. Watch it, Tack. I don't want to go kablooey.
Oh, awesome! You have Locke's spirit! We've finished half this quest. Now all we need to do is get enough Yorbels and then we can return to Jabulba's hut.
Doing the errand to the realm of the dead got us 30 of the 100 Yorbels we need to progress, so now it's time to do a little exploring. First we clean up the collectibles in Tack's village, then summon this little gremlin.
but I need someone who could do real grown-up, serious juju.
Yeah? You ever met a Juju who can make the earth move?
Oh, baby made an earthquake. Oh, good for baby. Now, is your mom around?
You know, I'm gonna show you some real special Juju. I'm gonna show you my magic boots!
Oh, very special baby boots. You're so lucky.
Oh yeah? Kiss my lucky baby boots!
This puts us next to an airship that takes us to a level called Numa Dunes for some sandboarding. If you're watching this video and you were born after the year, let's say 2010-ish, you may be confused as to why all of a sudden this run and jump platformer has turned into SSX. If you even know what SSX is, God, I'm old. See, in the early aughts, the extreme sports fad that began in the late 90s hadn't quite faded yet. Skateboarding and BMX in particular were all over film and television as well as in games. The Tony Hawk series is obvious, but the saturation bled into other games like Spyro 3, Tack Here, and Metal Gear Solid. It was a weird time, but it's good to know that the industry has moved past that kind of obvious trend chasing. The sole reason for the dunes existing is to be a level stuffed with Yorbels to collect, some of which require annoying specific routes and time boosts to get. I do go out of my way to pick up the crazy feet power here, which lets you hold a button to spend mana and move faster, and just leave once I have it. Next stop is the Tree Village, which now has an entire upper area to explore. The first time I came back here, I glitched at a zipline and crashed the game when I tried jumping into the area where it was supposed to be, which meant I lost a half hour of progress because there's no autosaves. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. For some reason, it seems that I'm only allowed to use a zipline once before it vibrates out of existence. Well, I'm sure that glitch won't be a problem later.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
There's Yorbels aplenty in the lower village, and even more to find after taking the elevator to the upper level. Up here, we platform around, move some orangutans, clear this hollow tree trunk of collectibles.
Why, hello. So glad you could stop by. Lovely breeze here in the treetops today. Smells of yummy, fresh meat.
Well, okay, but I don't care about any meat. I actually need to find a way through the... Hey! Whoa, knock it off! Hands off the loincloth!
Insolent, yummy, fresh meat!
Hey, where'd he go? What just happened? Oh, that was a close one. Hope I don't run into him again.
I guess he laughed when he realized you weren't gonna free him. Wow! His spell was so powerful I think he changed all the coconut trees in the world to grow explosive coconuts.
We can take advantage of this immediately to get to the mountaintop. Up here are more Yorbels and some chances to mess around with the new blast coconuts. We can summon the caged Juju once again and do a side quest for him to gather up some animals and get a snowboard. The rhino, fish, and emu are easy, but the sheep gives me some difficulty because of the weird aggro range of the orangutans colliding with the targeting of the tree monkey here. Come on. Come on, hit him. Come on! Once we have the board, there's a small puzzle to solve and another orangutan to move to get up to the entrance of the other extreme sports level, Powder Canyon. Much like the dunes, this is just a repeatable collectathon with Yorbels to find, so I spend some time here and grab as many as I can before I get bored. I also grab a power that expands my mana capacity, and break the physics for a second. My last stop on the hunt is a return trip to Chicken Island, which can be expanded by summoning this gormless specimen.
Liar! You've been a liar as long as I have known you.
It is true, I tell you. It's more powerful than the 7 skin-peeling stenches of the South.
Impossible!
It is more deadly than the rancid funk of the stink giant's feet.
Ridiculous!
I can prove it. Pull my finger.
Pull your finger? No way!
Pull my finger.
Don't ever stick your finger in my face again!
The fart bomb opens up Chicken Island West, and I summon Two-Face here again within 2 minutes.
Oh, come on. Anything but that's just cruel.
What? Too scared to go inside? Why? Are you just a little chicken? Chicken little chicken? I wrote that.
This isn't funny!
Oh boy, the chicken suit. This thing is completely whacked. While you're stuck in it, you can't attack on the ground or use your powers. You use it in this one area only to do some platforming puzzles using air vents. Very, 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 very slowly. This is not edited, this is legitimately how fast you go. Gliding in this is agonizing. Come on. Come on. Come on! The one thing you do get is the ability to drop egg bombs, which we use to clear out a bunch of nurbles and finally cross the 100 Yorbel mark. Chicken Island West is a one-way trip, so we have to push to the end to get out of here. At the very least, you get 2 new powers out of it. Conversion, which turns nurbles into chickens, and Warp Mastery, which lets you use any warp gate to go to any other warp gate in the world. Previously, we were limited to one-way trips to Tax Village. Back to Jabulba's. I just realized his hut has a giant schnoz on it, very cute. I'm sure that after all this running around, we're finally almost done, and...
Hello, Jabulba. I am so glad to be back.
Ah, at last, Locke's spirit.
Hey! Oh! I, Locke, savior of the Poopanunu people, am alive again. It is so good to be me. I am ready, Jabulba, for I am the mighty warrior called for by the Papoob. Oh, Papoob, boo. Oh no. Jabulba, where's the...
Out the door, round the back.
What's wrong with him?
This always happens when people get resurrected. They call it Resurrection's Revenge.
Whoa!
We'll just have to be patient.
Please!
Stay away from him.
Turn me off!
The idea of coming back to life only to have to commit a war crime on the John because of it is just funny. Though I feel it would be funnier if not even 15 minutes ago we were sitting through this shit. Ha!
Oh my...
Heck, there is no more time. You'll have to get the moonstones while Locke recovers.
Me?
This magic amulet will help. It increases your abilities when you're at full strength.
Oh, it's like lava, baby. Ah!
All right, I'll go. But try to help Locke. Resurrection's Revenge is a terrible thing.
Oh, sweet Juju.
Now we have 3 final MacGuffins to find, which requires going to 3 temples. We also now have the Champion's Amulet, which boosts running speed in your jump arc while at full health. My first stop is the Mountaintop Temple. I already brushed past the entrance several times while running around that area earlier. Inside is a relatively simple puzzle. Line up the dials, race to the open door, stand on the switch, repeat until the path is open. The one snag is the return to that weird glitch with the zip lines. I don't know where this is coming from, but it means I have to reload the whole area every time I goof the run to the blue door here. It's kind of annoying, but now we're done, so I'm sure that's the last time it'll cause a problem.
Sometimes foreshadowing.
Past the pillars, we face off against Tlaylock's minions, Pins and Needles again, and discount DDR. Easy W, first moonstone down. Next up is... As I approach Chicken Island's temple where the second moonstone is, I feel a sort of trepidation set in. As if I'm approaching the location where some terrible violation was inflicted on me that I suppressed long ago. The temple's gimmick is powering a large central elevator with delicious golden eggs to ascend to the top where the moonstone is. To do that, you have to navigate a series of increasingly obstacle-laden hallways to retrieve the eggs from special chickens, then make it back to the elevator without taking damage, falling into a pit, or even grabbing a ledge because Tack will fumble the egg if you do that. The first 3 are relatively easy. I get a lot of mileage out of the Crazy Feet power here, especially as doors that close on timers become part of the equation. The top section of the temple, though, is where the pain starts. The paths get narrower with wooden blockades. Some of them are the kind that you can blow up with the... exploding eggs, what? But others are too thick and you have to navigate around them. Some of the pressure switches that need to be activated are now across gaps that you have to smack chickens across. I push back against the game by cheesing the switches with a power I picked up earlier, Summon Melon. This little fruit apparently counts as weighing enough to hold the switch down, which simplifies getting the next 3 eggs. Which brings us to... the final egg. I spent far too much time on this last one, completely disproportionate to how hard it actually is. See, remember that weird glitch with the zip lines? It's been waiting to pounce and make my life hell, and it chooses this room right here to make its move. See, what you're supposed to do is hit the first pressure switch, run to the room with the chicken that lays the bomb eggs, hit that room's pressure switch, run here, hit this timer switch, climb this, use the zip line, grab the golden egg, then run out the final door before the timer expires. Challenging, but doable, right? Except remember, I can only use any zipline once before it vibrates out of existence and crashes the emulation if I touch where it's supposed to be afterward. Which means I only have one shot to use the zipline, and I screw it up. This left me with two options. Save and reload the area, which will reset the puzzle entirely, or try to get it done sans zipline. I choose the latter because I figure with the Champion's Amulet speed boost and the Crazy Feet power I can navigate the room with enough time. And I can. Too bad there's a KFC's worth of chickens that will cause you to drop the egg with a touch, these doofuses that slap you for half your health, a rope to climb that Tack just refuses to grab half the time, which negates whole attempts on its own, and my own rank stupidity. I spend 20 agonizing minutes on attempt after attempt just to fumble it at the end here. But I persevere, get the thing into the walk, and get up to the top level where there's another pins and needles encounter. You have to load exploding eggs into a launcher corresponding to the lit up spot, but be sure to wait until it flashes before hitting the switch, because otherwise...
Bullshit.
Second moonstone down, screw this place. Dry Rock Canyon is an area that's been accessible since early in the game. You can actually come here for 3 of the Nubu plants during the first round of the Great Juju MacGuffin hunt. As such, when I come here later, the plants are still kicking. There's literally no point in me doing this, I just did it for the footage. Hidden in the back part of the canyon is the Temple of the Sun, which holds the final moonstone. Inside is a series of time and combat challenges. The sun scorches the floor in certain spots, which causes you damage if you touch it, but you also get access to vials of purple goo that you can toss on the hot spots, which go off like bombs. While not as frustrating as the Chicken Temple, this one definitely still has a whiff of jank hanging around it. In this room, right, this vast cavernous space full of tiny enemies, I fall into the pit, and it resets the pillar that only raises when the enemies are defeated, but not the one that requires the pressure plate. Okay. On my second run through, I get back to the enemy platform and defeat these guys, but the platform doesn't come up. I spend a bit of time wondering if I need to hurl myself into the pit to do another reset when I get a brainwave and... lucky bastard. After one final combat gauntlet under a timer, we square up with pins and needles for the last time in this magic chicken destruction derby. Yellow orbs shoot straight, red orbs are spread, green ones explode in an arc, and blue are homing. This fight seems kind of interesting and a little challenging, until I realized you can break it in half by doing this. With the moonstones banked, it's time to bring it all home. The boys summon the moon Juju, whose hips tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I love how she's just like, yeah, this child did all the stuff Patrick Warburton here was supposed to do, so...
Okay, what have I got to do?
It's simple. You're ready to face Claylock now. All you have to do is jump through the portal.
This is too sudden. I wasn't
This face as she punts Tack into the portal? Beautiful, no notes. Claylock apparently forgot to pay his electric bill, which is interesting considering all the plants lying around.
You can't hope to defeat me, boy. You are no champion. You simply do not possess the power.
Yeah, he's a pushover. You beat him with some aggressive gardening.
Bring it on, old man.
The plants feed him power, which he uses to cast spells. So long as you're moving, you're fine. The task evolves in several iterations as the plants are moved farther apart and then get shields that you need to bait Claylock into destroying. Then...
Fantastic! Now it should be a piece of cake to destroy that... Oh! That feels strange.
Flora gets turned back to normal, we bear witness to some uncomfortable implications.
Aw, look, Tack. Tlaylock's made some new friends.
Yeah, close personal friends.
And Tack strides off humming the 1812 Overture. And that's it. Avalanche Studios would go on to be absorbed into the Disney singularity via an acquisition by Buena Vista Games, which would become Disney Interactive Studios and make a handful of games based on their IPs. Their arguably biggest project was the Disney Infinity Toys to Life property, but when that imploded they got scooped up by Warner Brothers, which is honestly just a lateral move between IP mines. Tack and the Power of Juju was an alright time, you could do a lot worse from this era, though in 2003 there were, shall we say, a few better options to spend your time on. I'd say it has enough charm that it's worth a play, singular. At the very least, throw on the soundtrack, it's a pretty decent listen. A sequel followed in 2005, The Staff of Dreams, which I rented from a Blockbuster once and got about halfway through before having to abandon it. I somehow managed to glitch a checkpoint and it kept spawning me into the death plane below a level and nothing but a total save file delete and restart would work. There was a third game that I never played because by the time it came out I was into Call of Duty and Halo and other games for big boys. At some point Nickelodeon remembered the Tack IP was theirs and made a television show that I remember seeing one episode of and never watching again. When I was doing some fact-checking, I learned that there was apparently another game that follows the TV show, which has different voice actors and doesn't reference the first three. Therefore, that means that there's a branching Tack and the Power of Juju timeline, which means God is in fact dead. Tlaylock's... Oh, this is gonna trip me up, isn't it? Tlaylock... Why is this so hard?